My number 10 is actually N'Golo Kante as well.
Mine too.
Same.
All right, so I think nice and
Wait, so you
polite
guys had
already.
Kante?
Yeah.
We
So
all three of
you
us
guys-
had Kante.
Kante number 10.
I had Henderson as number 10. wait.
Yo, 1-2 TV, man. You already know who it is. It's Zoom. We've got Ramsey, we've got Eric Njiru, and Saddam. Thank you, by the way, to Jambo Jet for getting this, man. And who else? Who else got you here? Jambo Jet and?
Jambo Jet and Kiburi FC.
Kiburi
Thank
FC,
you. Thank
okay.
you for
Pride.
Kiburi FC, for the sponsor.
For now.
The confidence, got me the energy I needed to walk.
Paid
in.
partnership by
Paid
Kiburi.
partnership with Kiburi FC.
All right, so we're here to talk about a very difficult discussion. The all-time top 10 midfielders in the Premier League. And we've got some of the classic teams, the all-time greats in Liverpool, United and Arsenal, and represented randomly by an AC Milan fan as well in Saddam. How's it going, Saddam? You good?
Good.
You're chilling. So Saddam, being the amazing pundit that he is, suggested that Paul Scholes is not a top 5 Premier League midfielder because Peter Crouch has more assists than Paul Scholes. True or false? True. Okay.
That was the only reason.
That tweet started a very hot discussion, very heated
And I was
discussion
loving it, but they...
on Twitter. So we came up with a top 10 that was based on votes. And essentially, we asked everybody here to come up with their own top 10, and we'll discuss and come up eventually. I think at some point we will have to agree on a top 10 final
Yeah, we have
list.
to agree.
We
Yeah.
can agree to disagree.
Yeah, okay. We can also agree to disagree. We start with one position, that's number 10. Based off the public votes, Claude Makelele is given the number 10 position on the all-time Premier League greatest midfielders ever.
Claude Makelele.
Claude Makelele. Now, remember, Claude Makelele is not just a Chelsea player, or whatever. Nah, this guy started, or what did he do? He started that.
That role.
Yeah, he
role.
defined that holding midfield role in the way that he
Yeah.
played. He was a playmaker. He was a breaker of play as well.
We have to go back to him to start that role.
Exactly.
Start
I
that
don't
Yeah.
think Kante would exist, for example, if it weren't
wasn't
for
for
someone like
Makelele.
Claude Makelele.
Yeah, there's a reason why we still call that position the Makelele position. Like, because of the things he was, because of his role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I have no problem with that at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have, Ramsey, you have no issue with Claude Makelele being the top 10.
I think the fact that you pioneer a position doesn't necessarily mean that
He's the best.
you're the best at that position. I would agree that Claude Makelele deserves to be there, but then for me, Makelele would get that honorable mention. My number 10 was Kante, because whereas Makelele defined it and made it a position that, looked cool, I don't think he was appreciated a lot when he played in La Liga in that same position. And the reason why we talk about him so highly is because he came to the Premier League and showed that that's a very important role to play in a team
He won the league, right? With Mourinho?
Chelsea.
With Chelsea?
with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
And I would say the
2004,
only reason I'd put Makelele number 11 for me personally, that's my opinion, and put Kante as number 10 because Kante managed to play the same position for Leicester, won the league, played the same position for Chelsea, won the league.
Perfected it.
And Leicester winning the league was something that none of us expected. So he perfected what Claude Makelele started. I would give Makelele salute. If you were to ask me in terms of who redefined the Premier League, of course, Makelele would be more important than Kante. But then if you ask me in terms of impact and who I would put in my top 10, I'd put N'Golo Kante instead.
I think I agree with that because Kante not only took that role to the next level, he was at Chelsea
Yeah.
in his first season the player of the Premier League season.
To me, I agree because I think I had Kante higher than 10. So I don't have a problem with Makelele being there if Kante is somewhere above him.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. My number 10 is actually N'Golo Kante as well.
Mine
He
too.
is,
Same.
all right, so I think nice and
Wait, so you
polite
guys had
already.
Kante?
Yeah.
We
So
all three of
you
us
guys-
had Kante.
Kante number
I had-
10.
I had Henderson as number 10. wait.
Wait, did you just name Hendo kwa hiyo team of
So
the
Jordan
name?
Henderson, in your opinion, Saddam, just think about this. Jordan Henderson, in your opinion, is one of the top 10 Premier League midfielders ever, all time.
Shikilia mtu wangu.
Listen. If we are talking about Gerrard, we have to mention Henderson.
Nobody said anything about Gerrard.
Hatujafika Gerrard kwanza.
Listen.
That's if we fikia you.
We will.
And I feel like Henderson is really underappreciated.
Liverpool.
Winning a title after 30 years, winning Champions League, going to get to the final twice and winning the second time. I think has to mean something. To mean something.
I think Henderson's biggest strength, and it's not a reason for me to put him in my top 10, but I think his biggest strength is the discipline he has and how simple his game is.
Yeah.
And it's a definition of, it's not like technically gifted, like.
Yeah, it's not technically gifted, but he
it's not
does.
really talent, but he works hard.
Yeah, I would say the same. I wouldn't exactly put them in the same level, but I would say the same role and how Carrick played when he was at Man United. We didn't actually appreciate him until a lot of the stars retired and all we had was Carrick.
Yeah, but remember that Henderson, you see, for me, the reason why I put Henderson there is I have to put a Liverpool player.
Oh, just
Right?
for the sake of it.
Because I have to, like, see, he knows
can't
what-
even defend
he
him.
knows where this is
I
going.
was waiting for this moment. I wanted to see, okay.
See, for me,
Justification.
Hendo makes Liverpool tick.
I would say for the last 30 years, Henderson is the best Liverpool captain ever. For the last 30 years.
Hey, that was
Reason
really
why,
hurting. You saw the way-
since the last time Liverpool won a title, Henderson had to come and lead them to the next title and make them relevant again. Liverpool won nothing.
So
Let me ask you.
So
Nothing before Henderson
your criteria is based on leadership.
Would you
Yeah,
put
see,
Hendo
look at
ahead
the
of
impact? Look at the impact
Yeah.
Henderson had on Liverpool. We are here talking about Liverpool challenging for the title and defending champions
then-
because of this man.
Then by your criteria, if somebody asked me who are the top 10 right backs, I'd put Gary Neville there just because of the same leadership.
When we get to top 10 right back,
yeah.
that's a decent shout. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think he's
I don't
an
mind.
honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Let me ask
Look,
you,
let me
would you
tell
put Hendo ahead of players like Liverpool, not even in the Premier League?
Yes.
We've had some fantastic midfielders in the last
Zabi,
10,
Alonso.
15. Exactly.
Talk to
Alonso,
me about your-
Mascherano, Gerrard.
Mascherano.
Listen, talk to me about your stats. No, those, they never won a title. Listen, talk to me about your
Bro.
winning percentages without Henderson for the last 2 years. It is
Also-
ridiculous.
Jordan Henderson was PFA Player of the Year last season.
Yes, listen.
And Liverpool's player of the
Henderson's
season.
record with Liverpool's record with Henderson is much better than Van Dijk records with Liverpool.
But that speaks to the leadership you're talking
Exactly.
about.
So it has to have an impact. If we're talking about a Liverpool player, because Liverpool have won a title last year and they were dominant in Champions League the year before that, Henderson has to be there, according to me.
Okay.
That's fair. That's
3-1.
interesting. I don't agree.
That's 3-1.
I don't
3-1.
agree with Jordan Henderson even being top
Me
15.
too.
Yeah. I wouldn't put Jordan Henderson anywhere, even top 20.
Okay, now you're just
That's
being
that is
bitter,
that
okay?
is
Bro,
disrespectful.
you love to send us a top 20.
So,
Oh, we're
But
top
see,
20.
that means you don't rate Liverpool as a club because that is Liverpool's
No,
best captain.
no. Like I think
Ever.
Liverpool has
Ever.
had. I think Liverpool has had better midfielders than Hendo. But
Based on what?
But Hendo comes out of top because he's a better leader than
This Liverpool side with Henderson plays the same or better if you remove any other midfielders. If you toa Thiago, they'll still win the title. If Ukitoa win, but Ukitoa Henderson, there's a huge hole that no one can fill.
I don't disagree. All I'm saying is let Hendo do it for at least 5 seasons consecutively.
He's been there for 10
What do you
seasons.
mean?
No, I'm saying for 10 seasons, how many seasons has Liverpool been winning big stuff?
We've won the Champions League. We won the Carabao Cup in 2010, 2012.
5 years ago. That's why my point.
Shut the hell up,
That's my
bro.
point.
So, we've talked about number 10. Everybody's justified whether Jordan Henderson makes it or not. Let's go to the public's number 9. And according to you guys, number 9 is none other than Cesc Fabregas.
I think
How
I
do
had
you
him
guys
higher.
feel about that?
I am pissed.
I
think
would put him a
I'm
bit
an
higher.
Arsenal fan.
I would put him a bit higher than 9.
I wouldn't. He doesn't make my top 10.
Who?
Cesc Fabregas.
Cesc Fabregas.
Oh my gosh. Cesc
Cesc
Fabregas.
As an Arsenal fan.
I'm an
That-
Arsenal
an academy
fan.
Mr. 100 assists or something.
Captain at under 19.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mr. Barcelona went to Barcelona.
Never explain to us because
Listen,
you're the crazy one here.
At the end of the day, okay, you just made a case for Jordan Henderson, for example, right? This man was captain. Yeah, he didn't get enough support from the rest of the club and whatnot. But at the end of the day, his best performances came with Arsenal. Not even with Chelsea when he came back and won the league.
Are
He
you
had a very good
serious?
performance at Chelsea, bro.
Are you
Top,
serious?
top, I think
With
for 2
Diego,
or 3 seasons.
Diego Costa?
Yeah.
With Diego Costa with Mourinho?
I mean, he had a few assists.
disagree.
Hapa na
What do you mean
pale.
a few assists hapa na pale?
I
How does he
disagree.
compare?
He's a Chelsea legend.
That-
How
guy-
does he compare in one amazing season? Tell me, compared to KDB, compared to Mesut Ozil, how many assists has he
Compared
gotten?
to who?
He's gotten consistent assists over many years.
that has to mean something.
But in my opinion, the best.
That's
the
a
best,
shit opinion.
Nah, in my opinion,
Fabregas played his peak football at Barca. He started in the Premier League. He was good enough. He went to Barca. He came back very mature. He came back as a guy at the maestro of Liverpool. He could control anything. I don't think Chelsea would have won the league without him when he came back.
I agree. 100%.
Twice.
He was vital in that
Yeah, they won
midfield.
twice.
They won in 2015 and
A
17.
winning mentality.
Yeah.
I think
He
they
won with
would've-
Conte.
He came back more
He won with,
mature.
listen, he won with Conte. He won with Mourinho. But
Like,
come on.
Fabregas easily enters. Let's not even not even based on our opinions. Like just his contribution to the Premier League went away, came back,
And won 2 titles.
won 2 titles. If you look at his assist records, he's just out of the.
Considering he went and came back and still one of the top assists. That is.
Yeah,
that
I
has
mean, he
to be
started
something.
playing at
Listen,
19.
you see,
He had a head start.
as
But
a-
that's not his fault. He was
Bro,
good
he
enough.
gave-
with
saying he wasn't.
Zohum is a bitter Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
This guy,
London is blue.
Arsenal, Fabregas wanted a better team. He was more ambitious than the club. He
Yeah.
went to Barcelona, won everything,
Exactly.
came back, chose the Chelsea,
because Arsenal
won the
still hadn't-
title twice,
Yeah.
and the Omekoto Okishina my FA Cup.
Bro,
Now,
at Chelsea,
even the Europa League.
And the
Chelsea-
Europa League beating Arsenal.
he gave 57 assists.
Yeah, that's nice. It's cute.
That's
I mean,
nice.
even one.
That is
month-
even more than
57 assists
Barcelona.
in
That is even
Arsenal.
more than Barcelona.
Yeah, he had more impact at Chelsea than he did at Barcelona because he wasn't good enough for Barcelona. He was a good enough squad player. And that says a lot
Fair
about
enough.
the
No,
Premier
you're
League. Not-
hating
Nah,
Fabregas.
nah.
and
If
that
you-
is
if-
Let me
disrespectful.
tell you, I'm just saying.
For
there's two other
someone
players.
who likes Buendia, that is disrespectful.
Okay,
For someone who
listen.
rates Buendia, you are
And
sick in
Bissouma,
the head.
and Bissouma.
Bisouma's big.
You are
Don't even
sick.
talk shit about Bissouma. Sawa. Listen, in my opinion, there's 2 other players, Spanish midfielders, who get into the top 10 ahead of Fabregas, and that's Xabi Alonso and David Silva.
David Silva alone.
At number 9.
Alonso no.
At number 9.
No, at number 9, my number 9 is actually Fernandinho.
Which Fernandinho?
Fernandinho.
The one Fernandinho.
Aye.
To me,
For Man
that
City.
is, to me, that's an honourable mention.
Let's look at
I don't think it's
Fernandinho's
top 10.
position. What position does he play?
Holding midfielder.
Name. There are better players who've played that position than him.
Yeah. Makelele won. N'Golo Kante won.
He's won more trophies.
Bro.
I mean,
Than both.
then
City would have won
then
trophies without him.
No, that's not true.
I disagree. I
you
disagree
are
with that part.
absolutely
The reason
shitting
why
there.
they didn't
I
win last
disagree
year
as
was
well.
because
was
of him.
because of Fernandinho.
I
And you said it right
disagree
now.
as
They would have gotten Rodri or someone else.
I think
And that's why they failed.
I think Fernandinho's positional awareness and his work rate and just how he influenced
Understanding
that,
the game.
that line and that line before the back 4 and how he understood the game is what made him such an asset at
100%.
City. And
He
when
is
he
a
was
top
injured
10
you saw
midfielder.
what
And at
happened.
9 for me. It's
So
Fernandinho.
put him ahead of Yaya Toure at City.
No, of course not.
Number-
Yeah, Toure ako juu. Sijali.
Number 9 for me is Vieira.
What?
Yeah, number
Okay,
9.
okay, we'll get there. I'm sure Vieira is somewhere higher there.
I mean, for the rest of us, sound opinions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
For me,
he's
number
gonna
9 is-
justify that
So
later.
can you justify
No,
Patrick Vieira being...
I'll justify when we get to Vieira then.
All right,
One.
fair enough. All right, so let's move on to... wow, he actually just put Patrick Vieira.
I mean, as long as you're the top
Yeah, I'm
10.
waiting for top 3.
Let's talk about number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why this guy is even in the discussion, to be honest. But
Who is
Roy
that?
Keane, according to the public, is number 8 in the all-time top
if,
10 midfielders.
if Hendo makes it because of leadership.
Nobody said Henderson makes it.
He said
That's
him.
his list. I'm talking about this list.
Okay, I would put Roy Keane because Roy Keane was very instrumental in Man United's sunshine days.
I'd also do that, but I actually put Roy Keane PM.
I agree. Listen, I agree as well. And talking about leadership, but you see,
By the way, what's in leadership?
listen, I agree. But the reason why Roy Keane is not in my list is because Henderson can pass.
What?
You know, wait. You know, Roy Keane couldn't even tackle.
What?
Tackling.
Neither
listen,
could Scholes.
Listen, tackling
We'll
means
get there. This is
tackling.
Johnny. We are, those are,
Skiza. What was his best asset, Saddam? It was the tackling.
Who?
So that's what people say.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane was his tackling. So
Roy
no.
Keane,
Yeah.
Mr. Red Card.
Listen, this man, tackling is getting the ball. This man ended someone's career. He ended someone's career.
Yeah.
You guys are over here glorifying a player like
Well, I mean,
Well, that was an
No, no, no,
that. I'm
accident.
listen,
sorry,
he
but
won.
compared to all of these, man, nowhere near in terms of the talents.
listen, I would agree why the public
I don't
would
think talent
vote
is
for him
enough.
because of the leadership and winning the title, what, 8 times or
his
9 times?
mentality, like
Yeah.
Roy Keane's
That's-
mentality was the engine
That
in
winning
that team.
mentality just it'll affect everyone.
That guy,
It'll
and I think Cristiano Ronaldo, and a lot of the good Manchester United players only rose to the top because of Roy Keane because
Can
he
you-
used, to, he
yeah.
used to push everyone.
Yeah.
And you need that type of player in your
Ferdinand-
team.
this mentality that Kina Evra and Ferdinand have, it's something that came from Roy Keane.
Yeah,
You've lost that one. Let's move on.
So who do you guys have for number 8, man? Because the public has.
I have KDB.
I also have KDB, but maybe is he higher? Okay, we'll see.
Okay, and the only reason I'm saying I put KDB as number 8 because his career is not over yet. So once he retires, probably he'll
He's got
climb
like
up
5 more
100%.
seasons, man.
Yeah, so like to me, I put it at number 8
4 to
because
5.
and getting into the top 10 when you're still playing and you're still at your peak is not an easy.
Yeah,
feat.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
That's a good
Okay,
shout.
so according to me, my number 8 is actually Xabi Alonso.
I don't think he was in my list.
That's me. I didn't have
Yeah,
it.
Wow,
he
you
didn't
guys
make my
don't
list.
rate Xabi
I think-
Alonso?
How long was he?
If we
How
were
long was
talking
he in the
about
Premier
La
League?
Liga, if we're talking about La Liga, easily he would walk into.
Alonso was there
his
for how long?
prime was in Real Madrid
Yeah.
and maybe Bayern Munich. I don't think
But
his
bro,
prime
it's
is...
not his fault that Liverpool weren't ambitious, just like Arsenal.
We
weren't
won the
ambitious
Champions League with them.
So are you saying we put him because he was good in Real Madrid?
We won the Champions League with Xavi Alonso.
Yeah.
Don't say we're
Yes.
not ambitious.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't mean you're ambitious in the Premier League.
Well, you finished second, man.
I just think when it comes to real quality and consistency, right? This guy was fantastic.
There's no doubt, but he
No doubt,
didn't do
but
that
then he
in,
played
in
his
the league.
best football away.
Yeah,
from
you've
the
lost
EPL.
again.
Eric
Move
Giroud,
on.
who do you have as your number 8?
Number 8, I think I had Makelele. But
Okay.
we
And
swapped
Saddam?
them.
Number 8, KDB. Me and...
Number 8, KDB. Well, according to the list, we have from the public, KDB actually comes number 7, slightly higher than yours and Ramsey's.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind that,
it's
by the
like-
way.
Yeah.
No issue with that. Small
And
difference.
he will... I think by the
6
time
to
he
10,
retires...
at least you can
By the time he
By the time he
understand.
retires, he'll be top 5, 100%.
Position 6 to 10, you can agree on a few issues.
Yeah.
Kupana ndo
I
tutapigana.
actually got it spot on with the list from the public. I also have Kevin De Bruyne at number 7.
Okay.
That's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sawa, let's move on. So I think we're all in agreement with Kevin De Bruyne at number 7. I don't think anybody has any issues. At number 6, though, from the public, we have David Silva. How do you guys feel about that?
David Silva for me is my number 4.
I had him.
Number 4.
Mine
He's
is
a
number
top
5.
midfielder for some people.
I had him third.
Even me, 5.
I have him 4.
Eh?
I had him third.
I have number 4.
Okay, we'll get to that. Stajua.
Because I feel like
No. Uh-huh.
he was... We won't get another David Silva in the next maybe 10, 15, 20 years.
That's not his
He
problem.
was special.
But apparently, Man City fans think that Phil Foden is going to be the next David
And
Silva.
that's the reason why maybe...
Bro, Foden
That's
can't,
why
but
he's that rated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Silva is the benchmark.
Yeah.
Well,
Silva
number
was
6,
world class.
actually.
He's trying to beat that.
At number 6, I actually had Paul Scholes.
I am
I'm sure
Wait.
you have an opinion on that.
number 6.
You put Peter
Paul-
Crouch ahead of Paul Scholes, man.
Do we talk about where Paul Scholes
No.
stands in our...
Scholes was my number 7, but
No, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes, according to number 6, in my opinion, he belongs there ahead of David.
Wait.
I think if you mention a top 10 in the Premier League, Paul Scholes. Because for me, like, you know, the ranking is in no particular order. I've just divided, like, if I was to put anyone in my top half of the top 5 and bottom half of the top 10, then I would put Paul Scholes in the top half.
Okay, one question. Is that...
Because now we can debate.
Well, the public for number 6 have placed David Silva.
Oh. Wait, are we on 7th or 6th?
We're on 6. We've already agreed on Kevin De Bruyne being number 7.
Okay.
I also am consistent with Kevin De Bruyne being at number 7.
Okay,
so we don't agree on Paul Scholes being number 6.
Okay.
Me and Rama. Me, I would put him like top 3.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes.
Yes.
Same. I'll put Paul Scholes as my number 1.
You're mad.
I'll put it as my number 1, and
All
I'm
right,
ready.
we'll
This is the hill I'm ready to die on.
Let's go to number 5.
Okay, wait. Okay.
Let's go to number 5.
Why is... Okay, Scholes is number 6.
Scholes, according to the public...
I'm happy. I
Scholes,
put him
according to the
6
public,
as well.
is 4. David Silva is 6. Now let's get to number 5. According to the public, number 5 is Yaya Toure.
Same here. I have Yaya Toure.
I may put
Toure
him
was
uko chini sana.
immense.
I have Yaya Toure on my number 5 because Yaya Toure was part of the insurgents of City in the Premier League.
100%.
Like, if without Yaya Toure, I don't think City would have actually
They've
risen.
won so many titles simply because of Yaya.
Yeah.
For me, Yaya Toure deserves to be even higher than number 5. And that's because not just of the impact that he had in the Premier League. I mean, obviously, even the way he played.
Bro, our topic is top 10 midfielders to ever play in the Premier League.
Exactly. And Yaya Toure's impact in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever seen someone play the way that he did.
He scored 20 goals.
He scored 20 goals. I don't know, more than 10 free kicks.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
He
ridiculous.
made amazing 70-yard runs and banged.
That guy was
It was
side
a perfect
footing.
box to box.
Side footing 30 yards. Like
Yeah.
he finesse katikati ya grao.
It's only that Pep didn't
I
like
still
him.
remember one of the most annoying goals he scored against us with his left foot.
Everyone scores against you.
Everyone-
Shut the fuck up, man.
So do you remember every goal? Because everyone's
Bro, those are so many goals of
How many
considered.
goals do you
It's
remember?
very painful.
How many goals do you remember?
I'm very sure if you go back this season, last week by one, support a good goal that was
Y'all
scored
are
against you.
assholes. Y'all are assholes, man. Y'all ain't shit.
I'm
So at number
happy.
5,
I'm
guys,
happy.
Yaya Toure, you guys are comfortable.
I have Yaya Toure as my number 5, yeah.
So everyone has 5, yeah, including the public.
Yeah.
Well, no. For me, my number 5 is actually David Silva.
Me too.
David Silva is my number 4.
No.
So I guess we've just interchanged them because Yaya is my number 4, and then
I think
that's interesting because when we go to the public's number 4,
yeah.
since we've kind of already discussed number 5, Paul Scholes is the public's
Number 4.
top, the 4th best ever Premier League.
I think the reason I put Paul Scholes as my number 1 is because winning 11 Premier League titles from 1995 to when you retired. This guy actually came back from retirement and still boasted.
No, listen. He came back from retirement and won the league.
Because the ones
We're
who are
talking
playing
about
was
that.
shit.
We're talking about he was the only player who came from retirement to win the league. That's because he's the only player who ever came from retirement.
No, there was Henry.
That was Henry.
From retirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he came from
From
States.
retirement.
Henry came from States.
I mean,
From
retirement. You know,
retirement.
MLS is like old. It's
You
a
understand?
people's
So
home.
they're bragging about a start. Only one player did.
And that's exactly why he
How do
stands
I-
out.
how-
That's exactly this
Bro,
guy.
but you're acting like he came back and was the difference.
He
I
was.
think you guys were well
He
on
was.
your way.
He was just a good squad player.
No,
Bro, that season that he came.
No.
What season is that he came back?
It was the season Pogba left. I think it was 2013.
Your best midfielder was Carrick.
No, Carrick was our best midfielder when Scholes left. That's when we.
No, the
realized-
season he came back to win because that's the last
Yeah,
league he won.
The last one we won was 2013.
And that's when Carrick was the player of the season for you.
But
Uh-huh.
Scholes was the. I remember that season because I remember having the conversation about Scholes not being able to play 30 games a season. And credit to Faki, that season he managed Scholes very amazingly. And without Scholes, I don't think would have won Faki's last.
Listen, this man
EPL trophy.
won 11 titles. Sawa.
Yeah.
In a team, for example, Man City winning a title. Sawa. You'd expect De Bruyne to be the team of the PFA team of the year. Sawa.
Yes.
This man who won 11 titles and he was only named twice.
Twice.
So imagine 9 times they won the title and he wasn't the best
There was
midfielder.
someone better than him.
Can I
You
just
understand?
say with Paul
So
Scholes,
9 times winning the league
Yeah.
and you're not the best midfielder in the league.
There was someone
Let
better
me tell
than
you,
you.
Yes.
with Paul Scholes, it's
How-
very similar to Ryan Giggs, in my opinion, in that if you were to make the best ever Premier League team, there's a reason Ronaldo gets in ahead of Ryan Giggs. Longevity isn't the end all
Yes,
be all.
if you're talking about playing so many games,
15 years.
weka Gareth Barry hapo.
Paul, you know the reason I put Paul Scholes as the...
You just said he's the greatest ever midfielder.
He
You haven't
can't.
come back
He
from
can't.
retirement.
and you see, the reason why I'm saying Paul Scholes is number 1 at the moment is because KDB hasn't retired.
At the moment,
KDB hasn't retired. So it's the best, it's top 10 up to this point.
But then
So
you haven't-
it's,
you
it's not,
haven't-
it's
you
not a
haven't-
final one. We haven't seen Phil Foden yet. We haven't seen Mason Mount yet.
Naby Keita.
We haven't seen. we haven't seen.
but
we
still,
haven't seen.
explain to me how.
We haven't seen Bruno Fernandes 5 seasons in.
Okay.
5
But
seasons.
still,
in.
Yeah,
explain
how
to
many
me why.
penalties he's
Listen,
gonna score?
It
Rama,
doesn't matter.
Rama,
Penalties are part of the
Rama,
game.
I said, how does he win the title 9 times and still not make best midfielder in the league?
Paul Scholes is madly underrated. In
Please
my
answer
opinion.
that question.
Yeah.
He won the league 15. I mean,
11
11
times?
years. Out of those 11, only one.
Twice.
He made twice. He made the team of the season.
It's for me
And by
the-
then, back then, there was not so much influence from social media that you can say
Yes.
the fans influenced so much.
Yes.
This was purely on fans who go to the stadium and the football players.
Okay.
My take on that would be as simple as Paul Scholes as a central midfielder was very instrumental
To United's-
to United's
Success.
success from the central mid. I'm not talking about him playing where Silva played. I'm not talking about him playing where
Lampard
KDB played.
played.
Or Lampard played. Lampard is my number 2 actually.
No,
In
to
all those
peleka
seasons,
Lampard,
in my opinion, in all those seasons, they were just more important Man United players. You can try and tell me that this guy was important because if you watch him, you know that those dumb statements that people make. If you watch the game, you won't see Ozil, but if you watch Ozil, you'll see the whole game. You know
Okay.
that dumb shit.
It's not dumb shit.
It's dumb shit.
Watch for a
bro.
minute, you'll see the game.
Fuck off.
A big, you know what I say about it is a big nonsense. If I think when Man United was winning everything, there was a bias for Man. Everyone hated Man United.
Yeah, of course. You used to win everything.
You look at that time Man United was winning anything. Look at what
Ask
players
around.
were saying about Paul Scholes. You know, playing against Paul Scholes. Who's
No,
the
those,
best man?
uh,
Chill.
we're not talking
Because
about quotes here.
if you're going to say Paul Scholes wasn't voted by Premier League players as the best midfielder and then disregard what other midfielders in Europe, the best midfielders of that time, were saying, then your argument is null and
Bro,
void.
if I ask you a
hate
question-
that comment.
No, yo,
I-
yo.
Atam,
honestly,
exactly, because-
I genuinely hate that comment.
Exactly,
When
bec-
media people ask guys like Xavi and Iniesta, they're not going to be like, yeah, he's decent. They're going to be like, oh, he's brilliant.
And it's
But-
depend on the previous game they watched later.
But managers,
if I ask you about Alisson Becker,
it's like if you ask me right now, someone you asked someone like Henderson to rate Ronaldo, and he says
he has
Ronaldo
been
is the best.
fantastic.
If he's been fantastic, he's been fantastic.
Okay.
Maybe
now
I
that-
have
now
maybe
that
I
you-
have maybe I have a bias for Man United.
Okay. I have another question now that you failed to answer the first one.
No,
have you failed?
rephrase your question again.
I'll ask another question.
Yeah,
When Scholes was in his prime with Gerrard and Lampard,
yeah.
he couldn't
Get into
couldn't
the-
make in national
the-
team of England.
into the
He had
England
to be
team.
forced to play on the left, so that Gerrard plays on the role he has to play.
Yeah. In
Sawa.
Number
That
6 and
forced
8.
him to retire from the England national team because he can't play where he wants to play. How are you the best in the league ever, and you can't even
Play for the national
you can't-
team.
yeah, for the national team, and you can't even sub Gerrard, who's never won a title.
Okay. So that argument makes a lot of sense if England won something or if they
So
made
you're
the
saying
final.
if they had played Scholes,
Chill,
they
let
would
me
have won.
finish. Let me finish. That argument would
Huh.
make a lot of sense if England won something or if they got to a final.
You made it
somewhere.
worse. You made it worse. Let me say why you made it worse.
Let me finish.
You made it worse because
Let
this
me
team
finish.
that never won, this
Let
team that
him
won
finish.
nothing.
Let me
Saddam,
finish.
let the guy
Okay.
finish.
Let me finish.
Finish.
Yeah, that argument would make sense if England won something or made it the final. That generation was called the golden generation
Yes,
for England.
let me. Okay.
And
They even failed for the
and
qualify
you
for
saying
Euros.
you saying that Gerrard or whoever
Yes.
He was better than Scholes, but never won shit in Europe. Never won.
Yes,
Never
yes.
won shit
Gerrard
anywhere.
won something, Bana.
No, chill. With England, never won shit with England. Means that we can sit here and argue that Gerrard was probably the best out of
Let me
our shit.
answer. He's asking-
English.
I just want to add on to what he's saying.
Uh-huh.
It's not a good statement. It's not a good way of analyzing how good Scholes is, because, to be honest, that midfield, that front line, that back four for England was always overhyped. Every single season, by
Okay.
the time the World Cup or the Euros come around,
That's besides the point.
No. The thing is, what they had around them and the managers that they had managing the national team just weren't good enough.
The managers
And
are
that's
spineless,
and
actually.
that's not Scholes or Gerrard's or Lampard's fault. But in my opinion, there's a reason he wasn't regarded as one of the first names on the team sheet. at
Exactly.
least for England.
Because there was someone better
Yes,
than him.
I'd like to interject, because if you look through the English England team history and their wars with their managers, the England team used to be picked based on public pressure and what the
Even
media
now.
says. Even now. So you have lots of good players.
Okay.
Like someone like Grealish right now would walk into that English team, but why doesn't he play?
It's not up
That's
to
the opposite.
8.
It's not. No, it's
Exactly.
not that it's
So
up to
listen
it.
to his
It's,
points,
it's,
is
it's
that-
not him to pick himself to play
Exactly.
for
The
England.
media that
Gareth
is picking
Southgate
players.
decides.
Yeah.
Gareth
Okay,
Southgate
we'll-
decides Jordan Pickford is a good keeper.
Yeah.
I think we
mean,
can agree
it's-
with Rama now England picks their players.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah,
based
so it's
on hype.
horrible. So that can't be the reason why we say
Okay, you said
it's not good enough.
But you cannot tell me a player plays for more than 15 years, he's been the best in your club, as you say, and then does not get picked for the national team. Yet he's playing for the biggest club in the country.
and let me add something. Rama said that team won nothing. Sawa. So imagine you can't even start for a team that wins nothing.
And it's not your fault. See the thing, and I think we're going. I think we're going round in circles, because
you see the
you
thing
can't
is-
start for a team that the manager isn't in control of who plays.
I mean,
even
come on.
now.
You remember who the manager was?
So you're saying
Sven-Göran Eriksson.
So you're saying the public never wanted
And Fabio
Scholes to
Capello.
start?
No, the thing about the English
the public
team,
also don't like him.
Let me finish. The thing about the English team is the reason why that job is such a nightmare for anyone, and the reason why a lot of English players used to
even
say,
had some
I don't
alibis.
want to be selected for the national team. Remember when Carrick said, not actually Carrick. There was a story going round that said there are players who are called up to the England squad and say they don't want to play for England because the pressure that comes with playing and kicking it for England means that there's a lot of scrutiny, a lot of unnecessary criticism.
Yeah.
And it's not something anyone who has maybe a mentality that is affected by what they hear would want to subject themselves to. So there's a lot of good England players that will never play for England, either because they don't want that criticism or because the manager doesn't have the balls to pick them. Like, I don't know, and I'll give you an example of at the moment, I don't know why Jack Grealish doesn't play for England enough.
Well, he started playing recently.
I mean, and that's because
All right.
the managers are being called out for that shit.
All right, Ramsey, well, we don't want to dwell too long. I'm afraid you're not going to get your wish in Scholes being the number one ever
For now.
Premier
I'm
League
cool with that.
Premier
I'm
League.
cool
He's
with that.
number 4.
That's why it's a discussion. Yeah,
He's the Arsenal
number 4 is fine.
of
Number 4 is good
of
enough.
all-time Premier
No,
League.
you're no longer number 4, bro.
But number 3, by the way, is big man, invincible, World Cup winner, Euro winner, Patrick Vieira. Do you
I
guys
agree.
have any qualms with that?
I agree. I had him second.
I had him 4th, Ahmed's 5th.
Nah.
So it's
Yeah,
not
he
that
was
far.
immense. He was good on the ball. He was a leader.
He's a Man
Won an
City legend.
invincible. Like he was the captain that won the invincible.
Yeah.
That has to mean something.
Yeah. I think if you consider, for example, how he, carried forward his form onto the national team as well, in a national
Yes.
team that has freaking Zinedine Zidane,
Gerard
Emmanuel Petit,
Makelele.
who is his midfield partner at Arsenal.
Was also, yeah.
I think the way he played, he really redefined the box-to-box midfield role. I don't think he was just a simple holding midfielder.
He was
That guy
gritty.
could do everything.
Yeah.
He could score from set pieces. He could score with his left and right from outside the box. He had some of the cutest passes you've seen in the Premier League history.
He would not make anyone.
Yeah, he could kanzu guys.
Yeah.
I've seen him kanzu Yakubu. Hadi Yakubu akatoa mkono. He tries to.
Yakubu.
Yeah. I don't necessarily take issue with that. I
Yeah,
just
I think
differ
we're good
with
with that.
Vieira
Yeah.
because my Vieira for me is in my he's the second best ever Premier
To me
League
as well.
midfielder.
I agree as well.
Yeah,
He was
so-
immense.
I
I don't understand why Vieira was.
my Vieira, I put it Vieira number 9.
That's
I
actually
think for
fucking
me, Vieira was very instrumental in that team because of the leadership and the winning mentality.
Yes.
Like Vieira, the reason why Vieira had so much beef with Roy Keane is because Vieira could outdo Roy Keane technically as a footballer
and physically.
and physically, arguably, but he was the leader in that Arsenal team. So when I say top 10, whether it's at the top half of top 10 or the bottom half, to me, like, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
I think,
No, you're allowed to change your mind.
yeah.
You're allowed to change your mind.
No.
Yes,
I still have him as number 9 because I
That's
think
horrible.
there are other players that I would put above in terms of impact,
Okay.
in terms of their contribution to the team, in terms of what that contribution resulted to.
Okay. Number 2, according to the public, is Premier League-less Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard.
No.
Stevie G
Has to
can be
be
number
first.
2.
Has to be number 1.
You are so lucky.
Yes,
Like-
has to be
like-
number 1.
You are so lucky.
If-
We are even talking
if-
about Gerrard.
If we were talking
so
about
lucky.
the best Premier League players to grace the European scene, I would put Gerrard as number 1.
If we're talking about
But
the
if you're
best
talking
players
about
who've never
Premier
won
League in
the
the
league,
Premier League,
listen,
Bro, listen.
talking about the best players who've never won the league, because
Yeah.
about Kina Gerrard, Kina Gary
Yeah,
Speed.
you can talk about why is Zola. We put Zola there even.
Exactly.
I think, in my opinion, Steven Gerrard deserves
Number
a top
1.
3 position.
Deserves number 1, not 2.
Why?
Top
Why
three.
number
He
1?
He is so happy he's number 2. He wasn't
But
sure.
not number 3.
Alikuwa anataka kuwa
No,
number
why?
10.
Why number
He
1?
was the one.
What did his contribution
you
lead?
reasons.
No, why?
Let him
What?
answer. Let
What
him
did he
answer.
give you reasons?
I'm adding the question. It's a layered question. Inakaa kama kitunguu. Unakata iko na question number 2. So, what did Gerrard's contribution lead to? How did he impact? And this is specifically to the Premier League, because if we start talking about the best English players and the context of you picking them is what they performed in Europe, and it disregards everything they did in the league,
Yes.
then it would be unfair.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
it would be unfair to everyone. else.
Obviously, during Gerrard's time, we never won the Premier League. But
What do you mean, obviously?
because we never won the Premier League.
Factually,
No,
it's
but
not
fact.
obvious. Say factually, not obviously.
All right, let him finish. Let him finish.
We won the Champions League.
No, that's the thing. I
You
don't
was
use
playing in a Premier
no.
League team.
Yeah, I understand and I
When you
agree.
guys spoke about Makelele, Joaquin Fabricas going to Spain.
I understand.
Explain to me why you would not put Henderson as number 1 and Gerrard number 1 and Henderson has won the Champions League and also
And the Premier League.
When we look at players, we're looking at individual brilliance.
So now you want individual brilliance, you're not talking about Champions League.
I'm not looking at teamwork. I'm looking at what you did as a midfielder, as a player yourself. If you
thing
give
is-
me Henderson
Oh, yeah.
the best midfielder.
Can I just add on to this, right? We talked about Paul Scholes and how he wasn't in the player of the
Despite
season,
winning all those.
Despite winning all those.
Exactly.
trophies. Steven Gerrard was consistently in Europe's, let alone the Premier League.
Let me give you that.
Europe's top midfielders in the world.
Exactly. He
All
won
the
the
time.
Ballon. He was number 3 Ballon d'Or in 2006,
Wait,
2005.
he
Let
was
him
number
finish.
3.
He
Who
won
was
that.
number 2? Who
Let
was
him
number 2?
finish. Let him
Lampard
finish,
was
Saddam.
number 2.
Okay, let him
That
finish,
year,
Saddam.
Lampard was number 2.
Lampard
Sawa
number 2
Saddam.
as well for me.
No,
Ramsey.
that Ballon d'Or he's
Yeah.
talking about.
Ramsey.
Lampard was number 2
We
then.
need to let him finish.
He was the PFA player, Young Player of the Year in 2006. PFA Young Player of the Year again 2001. He was part of the
Wait,
PFA.
he was young from 2001 to 2006.
Marshall has been young for 10 years.
Bro, come on,
Okay,
man.
2006 was the PFA Player of the Season.
Okay, yeah,
And then
okay,
2001 was the Young Player of the Season.
Okay.
He made the Team of the Year 8 years.
8 years. I mean,
From
honestly,
2001, 2004, 2005,
But-
2006,
but
2007,
let him
2008.
finish, let him
Media.
finish,
How
let
do you
him
make the Team of the Season?
Media.
Media buying.
Media.
Nah, it's not.
You know, there's
how do you make
this
team of the season?
I want
this
to defend Steven Gerrard, please.
No, let me ask you. Let me ask them. How do you make Team of the Season?
this is the running joke.
How do you make team of the season?
There's something called Abu United that was established in the media, and Abu used to mean anything but United FC.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's this conspiracy that a lot of the Liverpool fans went and looked for jobs in journalism, especially sports journalism. Yeah, they went and looked
Let
for-
him finish.
You know,
Let him finish.
when Man United was winning everything and doing the
To
most,
change the narrative.
yeah, they were trying to change the narrative. I don't disagree that Gerrard was a very instrumental player for Liverpool, But if you looked at his contribution and what it impacted for Liverpool in the Premier League, you know,
Nothing.
for it amounted to nothing.
He's nothing.
This guy retired without a Premier League medal.
Listen, for me, Steven Gerrard. right?
Zero.
Zero.
Steven
Shaqiri has a
Gerrard.
Premier League medal.
Steven
Bro,
Gerrard.
if we're talking about
Even Danny
winning the
Drinkwater
title,
has a Premier League
even
medal.
Keita's won the Premier League.
Even Anderson has a Premier League medal.
Doesn't make any
Hold
sense.
on, hold on.
Anderson won the
Hold
Premier
on.
League. Is he better than Steven Gerrard?
But
Eric,
then my
Eric,
point is,
guys,
Yeah?
we need some order. We need some order. So, when we talk about Steven Gerrard, right? People criticize him for not winning the Premier League, and at some point he was the architect of his own failure by slipping in that game versus Chelsea.
in
right?
2014.
Now, I just want to give an example, okay? Totti. Let's talk about Totti, for example. He is one of the greatest ever Italian footballers, right? Did he have as much an impact as someone as Alessandro Del Piero, for example? No. However, he is still regarded as one of the best ever Italian generational footballers. Kapsa, the thing is with Gerrard, right? He was synonymous with loyalty, synonymous with being the leader of the team, to the point where he is literally carrying the team, taking the game by the scruff of the neck. And the thing is, we saw it outside the Premier League. We did see it in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, in the Champions League. He's the only player to score a goal that wins them the final.
The game against West Ham.
So many.
He won. He was
point
in the
is-
first row.
Why,
He
why,
scored
why,
in a
why
lot
does
of
Liverpool
finals.
have to score
So
last minute goals to win a?
I think
Why?
I think
FA
I
Cup
think
is in the Premier League.
I think us guys
Why
are
does it-
shifting. I think us guys are shifting these arguments based on the player I was talking about. Because if you're going to mention Totti as being one of the most instrumental and one of the most important players
In Italian football.
in Italian football, but never having that impact.
Yeah, no, I don't think
He's
he
not
won
top
enough.
5. He's not
Yeah.
top 5 in Italy. He's
Yeah.
just a good player.
Then
That's
you
it. That's harsh.
you would give Scholes that same credit.
Yeah.
Because
So you
if you're
guys-
using
I
the same
agree.
argument, then you give Scholes that same credit. My point is, if you're good in Europe, yeah, you have to be good at the Premier League
He
level.
was.
Because
That's why he made the team of the season in the Premier League all
and,
those years.
and I agree. The only thing I'm saying is, I can't put you at the top of the best Premier League players if you never actually won the
KDB
Premier
won the
League.
player of the season last season
The thing
without
is,
winning
Eric,
the Premier League.
The thing is, Eric, I love Steven Gerrard. But
I-
I'm going to agree with
I
them.
respect him.
I'm going to agree with them. He doesn't make the number one position. That's
He can't
why
be
for me,
number one.
He's number 3.
I'm surprised he's number 2. He's
He
the
same,
one.
I'm surprised as well.
He's the one who specifically aliamua kuanguka chini and
When-
make sure
when
and
you're
make
there, no.
Liverpool not to win. Like
When they had Suarez.
if someone kama kuna mtu who took the title from Liverpool was
Suarez,
Gerrard.
Mr. 40
Sawa.
goals.
Yes, he made Suarez cry. Listen,
He made Suarez leave.
lastly,
Who is number one?
his last game for Liverpool walitandikwa 5-1 at Stoke. What a career. What a freaking career.
And I'm sure as we sit
He
here,
scored one goal.
I'm sure
that is the definition of his career.
I'm
Wamechapwa 5 but amescore 1.
I'm sure as we sit here, Steven Gerrard is very proud of all the stuff he won in Europe. I think one of the best performances for me, I would say, and this is speaking as a football fan, no Man United bias, that Liverpool Champions League final versus AC Milan was one of the best matches
So
I've ever
going
I
by
just
your
want to finish
argument-
one last comment. There is no Manchester United midfielder that has ever been better
Than
than
Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard.
I
Usually speaking.
I agree.
I mean, arguably,
Sorry.
but
I don't
then,
mind.
but then,
Okay, now that's number 2.
No, I mean, listen. Let me finish. Arguably, because at the end of the day, you might rate one midfielder better than the other. But if Steven Gerrard played in the Premier League but never won the Premier League,
The team never won the Premier League.
I have no reason to put him as number one.
So let me ask
Yeah,
you.
number 1 we
Listen,
cannot
we
agree.
all
season,
agree.
KDB
It's
was
only
the player of
Eric.
the
No,
season.
you're not asking any more questions because we could go on forever. We all agree that Steven Gerrard does not deserve number 1.
We don't.
No. As in between
The
us
three of
three,
us.
the opinions that
3 or
matter
4.
right now. You've lost.
Democracy.
No.
As you like to tell me, you've
know
lost.
democracy
You've lost.
works.
You've lost.
No, me, I
Checky.
know.
No.
You want
He's
to storm the
decider.
capital?
He's the people's best midfielder.
He wants to
Alright.
stop the capital.
So now, number 1, okay, according to the public, and according to me too, is a phenomenal player in my opinion. And he's a rival player, he's a rival legend, Frank Lampard.
soon to be an amazing coach as well.
You'll
I
be
agree
sacked.
100%.
I put Frank Lampard as number 2.
Yeah, we
You
agree. We
already know
agree.
you're
We
number
agree.
one, so-
We agree.
You would put Nani Lampard ahead of Gerrard.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, he won things.
Gerrard was a better player in both
Lam-
positions.
Better player in what?
That's arguable.
Lampard used to pick Chelsea from the ashes in the Premier League. Like
Yes.
he would just
Lampard's
decide today I'm going to show
era
up.
is, of course, the main reason why people put him up there is because of the goals.
And
he
the
took
titles.
many
And the
penalties.
titles.
Eric.
And the
please,
titles?
let's not disagree and let's not get confused. The most important thing in football is goals.
Bruno has scored more goals than every midfielder right now.
Right now, nobody's talking about him. We're talking about
No,
Frank
I'm just
Lampard.
giving illustration.
Sorry, we're talking about Frank Lampard. And the thing is, the amount of goals he scored, you just cannot ignore it. That thing is shouting. That record, and considering the fact that he won the amount of FA Cups that he won, the amount of Premier Leagues that he won, and the Champions League.
Yeah.
The only thing he did more than Gerrard is winning the Premier League.
Top 5. Number
3 times more than
Because
Gerrard.
he never won the Premier League.
3 times
That doesn't
more
mean
than
Steven
Gerrard.
Gerrard was not a good
I'm
player.
sorry, but for me,
And he
I
also
think-
won the Champions League, so he can't use the Champions League.
Gerrard won the
Listen,
Champions
guys,
League.
So
I
you
want
can't
to-
use the
And he had a
Champions
better
this is-
performance
this
in
is-
the final
this-
than
this-
Frank Lampard.
Okay, guys, order, please.
I disagree.
Eric,
this
let's
is
listen
No,
to
wait.
Ramsey.
This guy says that Lampard had a better performance in the final than Gerrard.
Yeah, the goal against Barcelona,
Final. We're
quarter-final.
talking about the final. Where they
Oh, you're
won
talking about final.
penalties.
I thought about the quarter-final. You specify which final.
Gerrard
There's
performed
quarter,
in
semi,
every
and final.
game. The semi-final against Juventus was even better than the game they played, the game that we played in the final.
So he never won the league, though. Actually, in the league.
Well, your point is only the league. FIFA
Oh.
has won the league.
My
It's
guy,
better
my
than
guy.
Gerrard.
We're talking
Eric,
about-
Eric Njiru. Eric Njiru, Skiza. This midfielder has scored more goals than any
100 penalties.
Liverpool striker.
He scored 100
Sir,
penalties.
you cannot ignore it. You cannot ignore it. And when you add on to
100
that,
penalties.
He's a
What's here?
Bruno. He's a Bruno of those days.
you really enjoy slating Bruno.
and there's a
I'm
reason.
sorry,
There's a
but-
reason. Bruno is very highly rated.
By who?
I mean, like, but
Listen.
obviously not you.
Can we agree?
Listen. He's talking about it. Lampard has more goals than Henry.
Umesikia you.
Are you
doesn't-
listening?
that doesn't make him
Henry is their
mean-
best player.
What's the point of football? Score, win.
Score.
Listen,
I know it's not the midfielder's
This is a
job, but
midfielder
the
we're
fact
talking
that
about.
he scored that many goals as a midfielder is just phenomenal. So the fact that he's the public's number one, he's also my number one. Sorry, mate. Is he your number one?
Number 1. Let me add something as well.
Who is your number one?
My number one.
Talking about
Are you
assists
mad?
as well. Listen, talking
That's
about
why I like
assists.
myself.
Listen, he is also number 4 in terms of the most assists.
Frank
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 Lampard.
Lampard.
Like
What
Lampard.
ratio have
Frank
He is
Lampard.
literally
Frank
Saddam.
Lampard was a complete midfielder.
Steven
Saddam.
Gerrard, David Silva,
That
all
makes
of them.
him-
He has
that
better
makes
assists
him-
than all of them.
That makes
This
him
list,
the most.
imagine Anako top 10, Milner.
Wait, listen. Listen,
Imagine you list the assist. Milner got top 10.
listen, Saddam,
Milner is
Saddam.
world class.
And that's a credit. Why are you making fun of it? That's a credit to your own legend. Saddam, that
He's a
makes
Man City
him
legend.
by far. I don't think I need to even check this. That makes him the most productive midfielder
Yes.
in Premier League history. I think maybe even in the world.
And that's what you need.
Debatable, yes. We can talk about that another day, but
in
yeah,
the, in the
we
world,
can
of
talk
course,
about
yeah,
it.
we can
So
talk about it.
you heard it, guys. Just a quick recap. We'll have a look at the public's
And
top
people's.
10. I don't know about the people.
Before number 10, honorable mention, Henderson, please.
Hendo,
You like Hendo?
I love Endo.
I think Hendo is one of those conversations we need to have when he's towards the sunset of his Premier League career. So, because he's one of those players where you can only see his impact in
Once he's
hindsight.
retired.
When
Once
you
he's
watch
retired,
the
yeah.
game, you can see. But you guys
Yeah.
don't watch our matches. You only watch when you're playing you.
No,
No, trust me,
Listen,
we do watch
we
your
watch.
matches. 7-2
Unfortunately.
tuliangalia.
We watched the 7.
Ulianza kuona after ilifika
Fulham
4-0.
pia
tulichoka kupiga kelele tukaanza kupiga
Wamechapa
kama
hivyo.
golf.
Weka.
Wanaona nini Premier League nini?
let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much, first of all, for the sound opinion, Saddam and Eric. Thank you for coming. Ramsey.
Typical Guna behavior.
So just a quick recap. Number 10 was Claude Makelele. Number 9, Cesc Fabregas. Number 8, Roy Keane. Weird. Number 7, Kevin De Bruyne, who's not done yet. Number 6 was El Mago, David Silva. At 5 was Yaya Toure. 4, Paul Scholes. 3, Patrick Vieira. 2, Steven Gerrard.
No.
And number 1, Frank Lampard. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And thank you so much to Jumbojet for bringing over this massive Scholes fan.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for all the interaction online. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so that you never miss an episode. And we'll see you guys next week.